Hello, welcome to the workshop on Aurora. This is my first video in here. I've got this new little tripod set up and I'm trying to make this work, and I'm kind of excited about it, so we'll see if it actually works or not. I have a project I need to do, and I thought this would be a perfect time to film it and see how it goes. On Aurora, we have a couple of these Whale Gulper 220 pumps. This is a gray water pump. This particular one pumps the gray water from the forward shower, the shower drain, the sink drain, into a gray water tank, and that's all this does. I have a separate one that's used to pump this overboard. I have another one in my aft shower that's used for pumping that overboard. But this one, I think these guys, we actually have a bigger one too that's used as a emergency bilge pump. And on that one, these clamps broke, and I was able to replace those. But these clamps on this one broke this time, and it just started draining into the bilge. And you know, while it's shower water that's soapy and stuff, I still didn't want that in the bilge. So need to fix this. And what's cool is these pumps are a couple $100. This is a 24 volt for our system. It's IP rated. They're pretty high-end pumps, fairly expensive to replace, but they do sell replacement parts for them. So this is the clamp that holds it together. If you can see, I actually was able to order clamping ring kit. If you can see that, you can find them online. This fits the 220 and the 320, which is a bigger one. And then while I was looking, I noticed that they also have a service kit for them. You can see the part number there, see what it is. This came up as a suggested item, and I thought, you know, these pumps are 20 something years old, 20 to go to 2004, it's 2026 when I'm making this. So they're a solid 22 years old. So I figured I'd replace these as well and see how this goes. Now, I have not done this project before, so not for sure what I'm getting into, but it should be pretty straightforward. This is the old parts that I took out. There's a little valve, one-way valve in here, one-way valve in here. So I guess the water goes, there's an arrow on here, it goes through. So the diaphragm pump, as it sucks the water, as it pulls down, it sucks the water in, pushes up, it pushes the water out. And this just pushes this diaphragm up and down. You can get, we'll have to take this off in a second. I'll go ahead and do that now. Let me see if I've got the right. I should have had the tools out beforehand. Nope. Metric. And I may not have, 8mm, there we go. So this is just a little 8mm to pull this off. And it looks like they actually give me a new bolt for this, so I'm not for sure if the bolt right. This is a little plastic piece here. This comes off, and then this comes off. So it just sandwiches between, and it's just a little gear, if you can see in there. So the motor spins, rotates one direction, spins the planetary gear, and then this just goes up and down, and that's the pumping action. So pretty straightforward. Again, they gave me a new bolt here. I guess this bolt comes out if you want to. Looks like it, no, it looks like it's the same, but the bolt is in perfect condition, and I don't know how you would get that out without taking this whole gearhead assembly off. And the bolt's totally fine, so I'm going to reuse that. We're just going to stick this new diaphragm on. It's that straightforward. I'm going to put this plate on. I think this just gives it some structural rigidity. Put that back on. So that is literally all that's involved with the diaphragm portion of this. And I think it would have been nicer if I could have spun this just a little bit to pull it down in there. But we should still be able to, yeah, it still goes down in there. You just kind of see it, it sits down in that edge, and then we'll put this new piece on the top. And I guess the question is, what's the orientation on this? I don't remember. This is mounted in my bilge like this. It pumps this way, and then it just goes back together like that. And then that's what these clamps are for. Those are the old clamps. Let me get the new ones out. These are the new ones, and this does come with new screws. I'm going to use the new screws on this. And I'm going to pause this for 1 second and come right back, because I do want to double check the orientation on this, because I can put it on this way, I can put it on this way, you can put this on 360 degrees, it'll pump either any way. I just want to make sure I get it the right way before I put it back together, because it'll affect how I hook it up to the hoses in my bilge. So I believe it's that way, but let me double check. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I was able to verify that it does go this way, and that's how we're going to put this on. Now, this could be a little interesting to do. I feel like this is one of those projects you need 3 hands for, but I'll tell you what, this new one goes together pretty nice. I tried to epoxy the old one and put it together temporarily until these came in, because they took like a week or so to get. Switch this around like this. But it was a pain in the butt to get this squished together. And this one looks like it's gonna squeeze together pretty good. So I can start with one side. That looks pretty. Oh yeah, these look like they're gonna be long enough to get me started, which is nice. Did I get the Phillips out of me or lose it? I lose the Phillips already. Come on. Are you kidding me? No, it's right here in front of me. Did get it out already. Alright. So at this point, we're just clamping this guy down. Make that seal nice and tight. And I probably should have made sure that it's squared. And it is. So I just have that squared, because that's the way the hoses go. So the flow goes that way. And then we can just real simply tighten this down, and we have basically taken this 20-year-old pump, which is just a brushed DC motor and a couple gears, and we put a new flapper valve in it, or diaphragm I guess you might want to call it, a new rubber diaphragm. This end cap, which is blue now instead of black, which has 2 valves in it. And then this piece goes on the end, so it screws on. This has a rubber valve in it also as well, a one-way valve, and there's an arrow on it that shows that. So this will go onto the hose clamped, and then we can screw this on and clamp the hose down, and the other end just goes on this side. So once we get this guy tightened up completely, we're good. And I don't want to get it too tight. I want to make sure it's tight enough that it doesn't leak, but I think too tight, you're going to flex. You can actually see, well, it's not flexing, it's just pulling it down. I just want to make sure it doesn't get too tight, because I'm afraid that's what probably causes it to break over time. I mean, you wouldn't think you could get it too tight that it's going to break, but I could see that being a problem. So I'm going to crank it down pretty good here. I don't want it to leak. We're going to call that good. So that is, again, the Whale Gulper 220 diaphragm pump with a new service kit for the diaphragm and new clamps put on it. It's a very simple process to do, very quick. This diaphragm, you can see, is kind of it's not too bad. I mean, it's still, there's no cracks in it. This was still pumping just fine up until this end piece broke off, and literally just the clamp broke off. Again, that's the second one I had on a Whale pump on this boat break since I've owned it. And I ended up buying an extra set of both. I bought an extra set of clamps, and I bought an extra diaphragm kit just in case. And when you have stuff, that many things break, it's always good to have an extra. If we're sailing somewhere in a remote location and something breaks, I want to be able to use the showers, I want to be able to use the pumps, I want to be able to do what I'm supposed to do with this boat without having to worry about stuff not working. So anyway, super quick and easy. You saw me do it for the first time here in about, what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, and we'll call it good. So over and out.